All right, Ray. So check this out. We've got reports now of Cybertrucks not only filling up all of these Tesla dealerships around the country, but now they are storing them in overflow lots like your rundown malls, rundown shopping centers, and it's getting overwhelming. There have so many sitting everywhere. And recently, I went to a Tesla dealership myself, and I saw it, and there were rows and rows and rows of these Cybertrucks. And you know what? We're only about 12 months removed from you not being able to get one, and then you having to pay $30,000, $50,000 over what Tesla was actually charging for this truck to get it. So what happened to all these consumers that wanted all these Cybertrucks? They appear to not be in existence anymore.
They were fictitious to begin with. They were just part of somebody's overactive imagination. Do you remember the first Cybertruck that went through this an auction, and it went for like, what was it, $220,000 or something like that?
Yeah, insane.
I bet you if you get your hands on that very Cybertruck again today and take it to the auction, you probably, if it was 220,000 at that time, you'd probably only be losing 150,000 to sell it today. It's worth what, 70 grand? What happened? There's only a certain percentage of the population worldwide that looks at that truck and says, gotta have it. And that percentage was a lot smaller than what Tesla people thought it was going to be. And apparently, all the people that said, gotta have it, got it. And there ain't anybody else out there that's now going, I gotta have that Cybertruck. Yeah, I think they're going to be sitting on those for a long, long, long time.
Well, what's crazy, and I'm going to pull, I think, both of us off the screen. Oh, I pulled you off the screen.
Well, that's
you can
fine.
see over here.
Yeah.
You can actually get one now, the longer range model, for $70,000, and then the Cyber Beast, which I think is one of the first. I think the foundation model is one of the first ones that came out. Somebody correct me down in the chat, but you have. I mean, it was $130,000. If I remember correctly, when they first came out, and now they're, way less. Even if you buy them brand new from Tesla, you can see just the prices moving on the Cybertruck to know that it's coming down. And it's going down in a major way.
Well, sooner or later, they might actually get to the price point that Elon Musk said they were going to be when he first said they were coming out, which was like $39,900. Let me know when they get to $39,900. And then I guess there's more people out there that would go, okay, I gotta have it. At $39,900, I'll buy an ugly truck. At 70 grand, I'm not so sure. At 100 grand, I'm definitely out. It's just, there's only so many people. When that truck first came out, I remember saying, I think it was to Farzad, one of the greatest Tesla fanboys
of all time
that the world has ever known. And I remember
we love Farzad.
I do love Farzad. But I remember saying to him, there's two types of people out there: those who find the Cybertruck attractive, and then the vast majority who go, that's the ugliest vehicle I have ever seen. And the group that said, I really find it attractive, is a very small group of people. I don't know how you can look at that vehicle, and I think I described it as the troll doll of trucks. I don't remember if you remember troll dolls, but they were so ugly that they were cute. Well, the Cybertruck is the troll doll of trucks. It is so ugly that there's a handful of people out there that go, oh, that's so ugly, I gotta have it.
So don't you feel like Tesla could have? There was an opportunity here, because the Ford Lightning tried and made a electric truck that look like a truck. But
Yes.
I feel like because of the price point, because of the range when it first came out, because of the whatever you want to put on Ford's quality surrounding the company,
Yeah.
Ford was not the one to introduce this to the market. But Tesla, it feels like there was a massive opportunity for them to come out with maybe not a monster size thing that doesn't look like a truck and call it a truck. But there's an opportunity for them to come out with a reasonably priced small electric pickup truck and it actually work and sell tons of, like, I would be interested in something like that if it was in the market. And I feel like Tesla really missed the mark because of Elon and him wanting to make this massive design change and make it look the way that it does. You're just going to, the mass market of who's going to buy this is going to be a person who uses a truck, and they went away from that market and went to someone who is not going to use it for truck things.
They alienated most of the people that might consider it as a truck because it is so untruck-like looking. Okay, and it is so futuristic. It is like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. It is, all those Mad Max movies. That when I look at a Cybertruck, that's what I think. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. I do want to ask you a question, though, and this is really an important question. So you took your Tesla in for service. You had to take it to the Tesla dealership. There are rows and rows and rows of Cybertrucks. What did the salespeople, the staff, what did you happen to ask them? What are you doing to move these things?
They don't have salespeople at Tesla. What are you talking about? It's like going into an Apple store. So,
okay,
there's one dude. Okay, so when you walk into, I didn't know where I was supposed to go to drop my car off or whatever. Walk into like the front room of where you start your process to buy a Tesla or whatever.
Yeah,
there's one guy sitting behind a massive computer screen.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's your sales staff.
Okay.
But no, I mean, I will say the beauty of Tesla, in my opinion,
Yes.
is that you don't have this sales staff. You don't have this pushy thing. If you want to buy a car, they've got 4 of them on their website, and you decide which one you want and which color, and here's the price. I do like that, and I wish the car market was more like that than what we actually have set up. But no, there was no discussion about Cybertrucks because there was no discussion about anything when I went to go drop my car off.
So as these continue to build up, as the inventory of Cybertrucks continues to build, and there's no reason to suspect that they won't continue to build. So what is it that Tesla can do? Suddenly start producing fewer of them? Put incentives on them, lower the dynamic pricing of them to bring the prices lower in an attempt to help alleviate the backlog of all the. I mean, it has to come from a corporate level, and I just wonder at what point does the accounting team at Tesla go, we got way too many of these just sitting.
And when they go in and do this process where they go lower prices, well, you're going to have more people that want to buy them that are only held back by the price, and they'll buy them, and then they'll become more popular. You start seeing more of them on the roads, and the people who are only buying them for the status thing, it's no longer a status thing. So you're almost entering in consumers into the market that you didn't have, but then you're going to take some out because no longer is it a cool thing because you're just going to see them everywhere. So it's a weird position that Tesla is going to be in with these Cybertrucks. Obviously, production has to stop on them because you can't just keep pumping them out and then they're just sitting there and just like it looks like they're selling dumpsters at these Tesla dealers instead of actual cars.
It's just scary to think about how this can impact Tesla's business model moving forward. I mean, they made a big bet that the Cybertruck was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread and the most desirable vehicle out there. And what was it? They had like 1 million reservations for them, and some crazy number of reservations for them. And I believe based on vehicle registrations, they've actually literally sold less than 80,000 of them since they started producing them. That's a pretty big bet that's going wrong at the moment, I would think.
So here's my question to you, and we'll pull up this other article that you actually sent me earlier today. Is you think that this is a problem with just the Cybertruck, or is this just one element of the underlying problem? That's okay. All interest in EVs are going down. And I have a little anecdote about this, little real world experience, is that I have a Tesla Model 3 that I bought before I bought my Model S, and for whatever reason, it just sat at my lot for 7-8 months, and I didn't do anything with it. Well, I finally got it ready to actually be sold, and we posted it last week for exactly what I had in it. So I wouldn't even try to make any money on it. I thought I was posting it for very cheap. We had one lead on it all week. And then, okay, well, I said to Nate, well, you know what? I'm just ready. Let's just get rid of it because I don't want it. It's a liability to have that expensive of a car that's sitting on my lot. I don't want it there. And so I said, okay, we'll drop it $1,000. Let's get rid of it. And over the weekend, we had it drop to this $17,000 price. That's $1,000 cheaper than what we initially posted for it. And we had 2 leads. So we're probably not selling that thing at $17,000 either. Now I have a dealer that's right next to me. He sells more expensive stuff. And I walked over there. I noticed he had a Tesla too. It's a black one. It's the exact same year. It's the exact same model with as far as the battery range as mine. And it's only 10,000 miles less than the one that I have.
Yes.
And he's trying to sell his for $22,000. So I walked in there. I said, okay, well, if you're selling yours for $22,000, let me sell you mine for 17 grand.
Yeah.
And you can make $5,000 on it. He said, man, we've already marked that thing down to 19 grand on our website. I can't even get anybody to call me on it. And I can tell you, after I sell this Tesla, I will not be owning any more Teslas to sell on my dealership. So you can see the interest even with the price point. I'm selling a car I bought at wholesale, and then I'm selling it for $1,000 less than what I bought it for, and I still can't sell it. That's where I'm experiencing as far as the interest goes for these used Teslas.
Well, the article I sent you was a survey that was done by AAA. Yeah. And the gist of the article is that obviously interest in EVs is at its lowest level since 2019. You've probably heard me say this before, but I'll say it again because I don't have that many original thoughts anymore. All the early adopters for EVs have already bought vehicles. Okay, the vast majority of the early adopters adopted. And the rest of the buying public is either wait and see mode or hybrid mode. And hybrids are going crazy as far as sales are concerned. I don't think there was ever as big a push consumer-wise for EVs as the EV makers thought there was. It was an interesting concept. It was backed by the Biden administration to the hilt. And we saw annual increases in sales, but we also saw during that time that even though EV sales were continuing to go up, the pace at which they were going up was much slower than what everybody had projected it would be. So that just indicates to me that the public doesn't really want an EV. Given their druthers, they would much rather continue to drive an ICE vehicle or a hybrid vehicle. And I think that's what we're seeing. And I think that survey from AAA backs that up. And I don't know what they can do moving forward to build more interest in getting more people to consider a full battery electric vehicle.
Well, you can even tell from these manufacturer decisions where really the EV market is going. You see Ford's backing off of production. GM released that they're going to lower their production of EVs, and I'm almost wondering 5 to 10 years from now what the market's going to look like for the EV sector. Is it just going to be like a couple brands that are actually even playing in it? I mean, it's probably going to depend on regulations, government interference, whatever it is with the actual market surrounding the EVs. But I mean, I see a scenario where you just have Tesla and maybe you have a couple other brands. I mean, it's just if you want an EV, you get Tesla, but there may be a couple other brands that still produce EVs, and it's and it doesn't matter if we're going to try to save the planet with it or what. These companies are trying to make money. So if people aren't buying them, then they're not going to make them.
Yeah, that's what it all boils down to is it's all about profit for these corporations. There are several major players, at least for sale in this country. General Motors has been pretty strong in the EV market. Obviously, Ford has invested heavily in the EV market. And then you think about Hyundai and Kia. They're pretty big players in the EV market. And they seem to be willing to invest even more money towards EVs. Honda's been pretty successful with the Prologue and the Acura ZDX. But realistically, if the supply outstrips the demand, which I think is what we're going to continue to see, I think the Cybertruck is a perfect example of that. And if we realize that just in the month of May, the average EV transaction price was just a tick under $60,000, and the average new car selling transaction price was around $47,000. So there's almost a $13,000 spread between the two. I don't know how EVs get enough traction to become more mainstream than what they are. And I know that the vast majority of people who own an EV swear by it. You've owned two. Do you swear by it?
I wouldn't say that. I would say that what's the benefits that I get from the Tesla that I drive are great, and they outweigh the negatives that I have. I mean, obviously, if the negatives would outweigh it, I have plenty of cars. I wouldn't be driving that one. But I enjoy a lot of that. Now, if Tesla would come out with a product where the build quality is great, you have little things that aren't commonly being broken on the car all the time. Like when I went to get my car repaired, there I think like 4 things that I had to get fixed on my car that have broken, and they're all common problems with this Model S that I have. Even one of the half shafts in the front had to be replaced. Tesla was even running a special on this that they weren't charging labor costs because it's such a common problem. So I only had to pay for parts. I mean, everything was still. I mean, it wasn't more expensive than what I would have gotten things fixed on a gas car. But still, if we would have a situation where the build quality would be better, then I could get to a place where I could use that phrase. I would swear by it. But we're not there yet, and I'm probably going to have another vehicle always sitting around that is a gas vehicle. And I just don't see a future where my wife and I only have electric vehicles parked in our driveway.
Just out of curiosity, you can only get a Tesla repaired at a Tesla service facility.
I believe there's some people that can fix. There's some mechanics that can fix certain things about the Tesla, but usually not everything can you do at a independent like a mechanic shop. And from what I've read and seen,
so how far did you have to drive in order to get to your Tesla service facility?
The closest one's about 30 minutes away. And here there's a little funny story about that because they gave me a window of when this stuff would be done.
Yeah,
And when I was going to pick it up was after they closed. So
great.
I'm like, well, what if they don't get everything done? I don't want to sit at this Tesla dealership for an hour and then maybe not get my car. And then my wife, who was dropping me off, would have to bring me back. And
Yeah.
then the next morning we have to go back. So we even planned a staycation around me getting my Tesla fixed. And we went and stayed at a hotel with an indoor pool close to it with me, my wife, and my son because we just weren't sure. And I'm glad we did because it was not ready when they said it was going to be ready. So it was, we were able to pick it up the next day.
So
30 minutes away is what I don't remember if I said that.
Yeah. See, no, you did say that. So 30 minutes isn't terrible, but not everybody's going to live 30 minutes from their local Tesla service facility. I mean, they're not like everywhere that I'm aware of, are they?
Nope, not at all.
Okay. So if there are common issues that Teslas have, and there's really only one place to get those issues addressed, and that's at a Tesla service facility, and there are none that are close to a lot of people, why would anybody want to buy one then?
I've heard of some people having to drive like across states or drive 3 or 4 hours away to just go just drop their car off to get fixed. I mean, if they go into the same situation that I went into, luckily I have a job and I have the funds and the ability to be able to just go get in a hotel one night when we're not sure what the timing is going to look like. But I mean, someone who has it as their everyday driving car, most Americans, what do? They live paycheck to paycheck. What are they doing in this situation where they have to get a car fixed and the service center's 3 hours away and they're not sure when it's going to be fixed or if it's going to be today, if it's going to be tomorrow? That's a problem.
And realistically, if they have an ICE vehicle, there's like mechanics everywhere. There are independent shops everywhere. I mean, if you live just about anywhere, you should probably be able to find a local wrench within 15 minutes of where you're living, and have several to choose from, as opposed to there's one service center for this and it's across 3 state lines or whatever it is. It's just I don't think Tesla Mobile Service will come to your house for many repairs.
Yeah, and I want to point this out. So 2 of the repairs that I had to get done on my Tesla require me to go in there. This is true that there are a lot of things like a door handle replacement or something like that. That's one of them that I had to get fixed.
Yeah.
They would come out to my house for something like that. But if you have any kind of issue where the car's got to get lifted off the ground or something, like they can't do that for a mobile service. I had to get the half shafts replaced in the front of my car. I had to go in for that. So I will say, yes, there are a lot of repairs that they will come out for, but it doesn't eliminate the necessity for a lot of the repairs. You actually have to go into their service center.
It doesn't. Maybe it's just me, but it doesn't sound quite as convenient as most internal combustion engine cars, that between franchise dealers and local qualified mechanics, it's much easier to get an ICE vehicle worked on than what it sounds like to get an EV. Now, perhaps some of the other EVs out there don't have as many issues as what Teslas are known for. Perhaps.
Yeah. So let's shift this to another. Where do you feel like EVs are going to be priced compared to gas vehicles? Let's say even 5 to 10 years from now. Do you think the demand, if it continues to go down like it is right now, is that going to push a lot of the EV prices down? Or do you feel like these manufacturers are in a place where, okay, it's going to cost them more to manufacture an EV anyway, so they're just going to keep the prices up, maybe keep the volumes down and margin up? We've seen that game before in the last few years. But what do you think is going to happen with this market with EV sales tracking like they are?
Well, what if I know the hope was that like EVs would represent like 50% of all sales come 2030. And then I think that number was lowered to 40%. What if it never becomes greater than 20 to 25%, which seems to me to be more logical than hoping that it reaches 40 or 50%. I think the cost of building EVs, depending on battery chemistry, and will always remain relatively high because we don't necessarily have local access to all the minerals and stuff that are needed in order to produce those batteries. So there are countries that can hold us hostage when it comes to getting our hands on the minerals and materials that one might need to produce cars. I'm going to say something that I think most people are probably going to disagree with, but I think that at a certain point, some of the manufacturers that are in the EV space today will choose not to be in the EV space 10 years from now. It would not surprise me if Ford or GM or whoever says, you know what? There's more margins in ICE vehicles. There's still a demand for them. Regulations will continue to be updated as to, what the government says we need to build. And I would not be surprised to see many of the major players who are in EVs now say we're out of the EV business. It was an attempt, and we admit the error of our ways. We will support the EVs that we did make for as long as we need to support them, but we're not going to continue building them in the future. And so I think we'll find some players that definitely get out of the EV market and just remain either in hybrids or total ICE vehicles.
So I want to pull one of our comments up here. This is from Mark. Watches just about every time we're live. He's here too, so we appreciate him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's saying EV demand is rising. I know from seeing a lot of his comments that he's very, very, very pro EV.
Yes. Oh, and, absolutely.
Mark, yeah. According to this right here, though, it would be that EV demand is actually falling, and I wonder if a lot of people who are in love with EVs, if like I would throw Mark with the comments that I've seen from him in like the Farzad camp, where it's hard to see any negatives about them because you like them so much. But there's a scenario there. There's a massive group, a population out there that doesn't want anything to do with them. And once you have the people that are all about EVs, they wanted the EVs, they bought the EVs, just like you're saying earlier in this video. There might be a cap to how many people right now, not to say the future, but right now are interested in actually owning one.
I don't think that number is greater than 20 to 25% of all car buyers out there. In my heart of hearts, I don't see the EV market being greater than 25% of all cars sold anytime soon. So if you pushed me, I would say, yeah, maybe by 2030, 25% of all cars sold will be full, complete battery electric vehicles. Maybe. Okay. What I think gets you to that number or slightly above that number will be hybrids being considered to be part of the EV family. So if it's a plug-in hybrid, for instance. But, a plug-in hybrid is the combination of an ICE engine and an EV motor. So you still have an ICE engine as part of the vehicle. I don't think demand will ever, say in the next 5 years, I don't think you'll see more than 20 to 25% of pure battery electric vehicles on an annualized basis. That's just me.
And just to add into this EV interest kind of thing, this is a conversation that me and Farzad have had both on screen and then off screen. We look at like analytics of videos and stuff, and Farzad's like on YouTube, he's like the EV guy, right?
Oh, he is.
But when he would have videos about EVs and stuff, I mean, now his channel's taking a little bit of a different turn here lately with Elon and all his antics. But when he was fully Tesla and Tesla all the time, and that's what he talked about, even though he was the guy, views were not. I mean, the views were not great. Let's just put it that way. And like mainstream car market stuff, what Car Edge was putting out, what I was putting out at the time was 5 to 10x a lot of what the views were for Farzad. And Car Edge and myself, we're not even the people for the car market, right? We're not the top channels for that kind of stuff. So you can see the difference from the top guy and then not even the top of our niche. The difference in interest of people actually talking about this market. And I can tell you that people don't like when we make EV videos. This video right here is not going to get any views. It's not going to do very well at all, but I wanted to talk about it. But this is just another thing that we can throw into the argument of the interest is just not there compared to where you're looking at for the ICE market or the hybrid market.
Well, in that article from AAA, what did it say? 16% said they were likely or very likely to want to buy an EV in the future.
Yeah, only 16% reported likely or very likely to purchase an EV.
That's not a lot. Okay, that for a technology that's been around now, mainstream wise, for what? 10, 15 years, I guess, at least, that the best that in a AAA survey they could come up with was 16% of the public was saying they were likely or very likely to buy an EV after 15 years of it's all going to be a battery electric. That just indicates to me that, okay, if you're not Norway, there's just not a market in the United States for these vehicles to the degree that the industry thought there was going to be. And I know somewhere in the comments, somebody will say, well, when BYD becomes available in the United States and there's $15,000 or $20,000 battery electric vehicles, you'll see everybody going towards EVs. I don't think it happens. That's just
it ain't going to happen. Yeah, I mean, if you put out a $15,000 EV with 200 or 300 miles of range, yeah, everybody would buy them. It ain't happening here, though. It's not going to happen.
Well, we're in agreement.
Yeah. Anyway, over under of how many views this video gets because nobody's going to click on it. I'm gonna put it at 5,000 views. There we go.
Oh my God! I think it's less than 4,000, but what do I know?
It might be less than 4,000. That's great, but I enjoy talking about this. Okay, well, you want to close us out then, because you're way better at it than I am.
You know what? I want to thank you for tackling a tough subject that we know nobody's really going to want to watch. But it deserved discussion, and it's something that we have to look at from time to time. I enjoy our our 35 to 40 minutes together every week. And I look forward to doing it again next week. And hopefully next week we'll come up with a topic that somebody would actually want to view. We'll see.
But probably not. And real quick, Adam asked, what is your opinion on diesel hybrids? I don't have an opinion on that.
That makes two of us. I know